Y'all, hello, hello. I am so excited today. Today, we're going to talk about living powerfully. And we have a few others that are going to join us, but right now we have four special people who are going to talk about what living powerfully means. And the reason we're here together is because myself, Ms. Charmaine Wright, and Dr. Zaid, we all are certified facilitators with David Bear. David Bear is a genius when it comes to pulling together content that we all would say has been around for decades. So these aren't new ideas, but what is new about it is he's taken it and packaged it in such a way that it is easy for everyone to transform their lives. And so what we decided to do as certified facilitators, we're now coaches. We're people who can help you on your journey. And I am going to help facilitate a community conversation. And so, since we all have different levels of experience with David Bear and these concepts, we're going to just use today as an introduction to a series. And the series is going to be called Living Powerfully. So, I'm going to ask each of these individuals to first of all introduce themselves. I'm going to start with our facilitators to tell me a little bit about who you are, just real quick, and then what does living powerfully mean to you? And I'm going to start with you, Ms. Charmaine.
Good evening. Thank you, Tracy, as always, for inviting us to have this conversation, a much needed conversation that we need to have within our communities. Um, I am, like I said, Charmaine Wright, or I am a mother. I am a wife. I am a mother of seven beautiful children. I am a strategic voice, meaning I have the unique ability to be able to see things in a way that brings a new perspective to whomever I'm talking to. I invite God into the conversation and I just kind of step out of the way and allow him to do his thing. But my responsibility in that is to set the atmosphere, to set the space and hold space for people. And so I am a listener. I have been told that I am a spiritual midwife, meaning that I usher people into the fullness of who they are so they can accomplish the things that God has assigned them to do. So that's me.
Mm, I love it. And if you had to define, Charmaine, what does living powerfully, what does that actually mean to you? What would
It
you say?
Yeah, what I would say is it absolutely starts with who you were uniquely designed to be. Your identity is at the center of living powerfully because you were designed specifically by God. He knows the hairs on your head. You and him had a conversation about what your life experience was going to be. And so living powerfully means that you are in alignment with all sorts of areas of your life. You're in alignment with your identity, with who you're supposed to be walking with. You're in alignment with what you're supposed to be doing, and you're in alignment with how it needs to be done. So alignment is the key to living powerfully.
Yes, I love that. And as people will see, it means a lot of different things to different people. But at the end of the day, it's about leveling up every aspect of your life, your career, your business, whoever you are, whatever you are, to Charmaine's point. It's about being your best self. Dr. Zaid, I'm going to ask you the same question. Tell us who you are and what does living powerfully mean to you?
Well, thank you, Tracy. Thanks for having us to be here. Um, who am I? That's a loaded question. I guess, I would say that I am a breath from the Spirit of God. And, God breathes into all of us, and that's what gives us life. So, I can't define who I am fully by what I do or the roles that I play. And as this breath from the Spirit of God, I am an obedient intellect, meaning that I want my spirit consciousness, which is intelligence, to come through. And, words mean different things to different people. When I say intelligence, I'm not talking about academic, book knowledge, right? There's an infinite intelligence that's out here to serve us. And part of living powerfully is being able to think with intelligence that puts you in line with the infinite intelligence to get the support that's out here for us. So my work, my calling now is transformational mindset facilitation and coaching, also working in self-leadership, because it's impossible for us to live powerfully if we can't lead ourselves, in terms of what we believe and what we think and what we feel and the actions that we take. So I'm on a mission to help us get out of our fear-based living.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you.
Powerful.
I
Unconditional love and peace. I think that's what living powerfully is for me.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's beautiful. I love all aspects of what you just said. So we're going to come back to the two of you and others in this conversation. We have one last introduction for this primary core of individuals, Ms. Catherine LeBlanc. Would you introduce yourself? Tell us who you are and what does living powerfully, what does that mean to you?
My name is Catherine LeBlanc. I am someone who is very grounded spiritually. I am someone who loves my family, whether it is my 3 children and 3 grandchildren, or my siblings, all of my family. I spend a lot of time with family, and I am someone who is a good friend. And I love my friends, and I spend a lot of time with them. My personal mission statement, which I created over 30 years ago, is to joyfully and delightfully develop myself and others. And that kind of development has been reflected in the kind of personal development work that I have done on myself in order to emerge as a better and better version of myself at all times. And the portion of my mission statement that deals with developing others, I have been involved and engaged in a number of activities that contribute to the evolution of others. I am considered a corporate pioneer because of being one of the first Black women in so many areas over the course of my work career, which has covered corporate, education, national government as a political appointee, consultant, and coach. In terms of answering your question, Tracy, how would I define living powerfully? It encapsulates so much of what the previous 2 panelists articulated. And then what I would add is just standing very strongly in who you are, with confidence and a strong self-concept, and taking your work out into the world. The work that hopefully you have heard from God that you are to do in this iteration of your life.
I love that. Yes. And it's so funny because I always introduce everyone else and I didn't introduce myself. So my name is Tracy Harrell. I am president of It's All Bigger Than Me Consulting. And it's consulting, it's coaching, training, and transformations. So I'm also a certified success coach. I'm a certified facilitator, transformational facilitator with David Bear. And part of my spiritual vision, part of my mission is to take the learnings that we all have and create a space where this becomes our new normal, where this idea of living your best life, this idea of truly transforming, right? This idea of creating the future that you want becomes who we are, who we all are. And so I get the pleasure of, for the past 5 years, I had the pleasure of leading the National Black MBA Association Seattle chapter. And we have a program that's focused on youth. And so we're going to take this message into high schools, into colleges, and we're also focused on entrepreneurs, professionals, and senior executives. So there will be multiple layers to this Living Powerfully series. And it's going to take a conversation with people like these, but also it's going to take each of you. So, you know, I brought you in specifically to have a conversation around just this energy around it's all of us together driving change. So my question is, why is this conversation so important that we do it in community? And looks like we have a new guest that just joined us. Hello, Taryn. How are you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, you sound great and you look amazing.
Thank you.
So
I'm
Taryn,
doing
we were just doing quick introductions. So tell us real quick who you are before I go to the next question. Who you are, what's your name, and what is the concept of living powerfully? What does that mean to you? And let me just be clear, we brought Taryn into this conversation. She's not a coach. Has not been leading this work. She is a newbie in this space because it was really important that we introduce young people to these ideas. So you'll hear from people like Taryn and others who's also an entrepreneur. She's a woman who's on a mission to live her very best life. So tell us, Taryn, who you are and what does living powerfully mean to you? And then we're going to ask some future questions about what you learned, et cetera. But just start real quick with defining living powerfully and who you are.
So I'm Taryn, as you guys all know. I am starting a label called Above the Record. I'm a singer, songwriter, musician. I go by Jazrae under those terms, and I also am a community advocate. So I'm really have strong beliefs in supporting the community and the people that help build the culture and the environment and the economy that we all live in and serve. Living powerfully, it's honestly, I'm still kind of processing that whole weekend because I really, from that experience, which thank you, Tracy, for allowing me to be a part of that, I really understood more. And I think it's understanding what it means when you let go of all these barriers that you can keep yourself into. And it's understanding your mind in conjunction to the reality and other experiences that you have with different people, and being able to make the best decisions that are going to allow you to move into your calling and move into your purpose, and also uplift and help others along on the way. So, and that just requires you knowing what that looks like and you being able to live and breathe and be that. So there's just, I feel so transformed from that experience still. But it's a beautiful feeling. And I feel like it just allows you to let go of so much limits that we didn't even know that our mind can put on ourselves. So, yeah.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much. And Taryn, you were actually part of the catalyst. The reason, I thought it was important that we bring specific individuals in. Catherine, because she's senior, she's seasoned, she's been doing professional development for years. This is her area of expertise. You, because you're new. And so we're going to actually have a pretty expanded community, right? The question I want to ask each of you just real quickly is, why is it so important that we do this in community? That we're not doing this in isolation? What value do you see in us doing this transformational work, this living powerfully work, introducing these concepts into our community? Why is it so important that we do it in community? And I'll start with you, Charmaine.
I would say, and sorry to start that off but Tracy, that's a very powerful question. It's one of the major takeaways of not only this weekend, but my experience in coaching is the power of group, the power of community, the power of being in the same energy and context that you are with other people, and the ability to hold space for one another, the ability to have somebody there to hear what your thoughts are, to listen, to reflect those words back to you. Is so different to live in your head than it is to live out loud in front of somebody else. And when you begin sharing your inner thoughts out and you hear them, and then you hear them reflected back to you, there's nothing like that. And that's part of the transformation process. And our ability to just energetically hold space for one another is key in that transformation process. You cannot transform yourself by yourself. It always takes the work on your part, and then the loving work of other people in that process with you. So community is absolutely essential in that, and it's absolutely one of the key ingredients to making that transformation process successful.
I love it. Catherine, same question for you. We just heard a little bit of your spiritual vision. You're not doing this alone. You want to support others. Why is it important? Why should people who are listening to these videos, why should they want to engage with us in community?
Well, when I look back on my life, everything that I have done successfully has been done in community. There were always those who were available to support me, and it meant that our outcome and results were always better. Whether that was as one of the first Black students to go to integrate Duke University back in the late 60s, it was the Black students getting together and making the decision that was what we wanted to do, help to evolve the university and get it to a point that that it needed to be in order to support this new community of young people that they were inviting into their institution. It was the same thing when I was in the 15th class of women who were at the Harvard Business School. It was the community that helped those of us who were new to the environment. And so my life's experiences have shown me how important community is. And when we look specifically at our Black community and the various needs that show up there, we can just really appreciate the role that our own personal transformation has played in our lives and the potential that it has for the younger people in our community. And it's just a joy to me to be on a panel with these people who are so dedicated and have the compassion and the commitment to make that happen.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Dr. Z, same question. I know you and I have had many conversations regarding this concept of community. What would you say to someone about why it's so important that we transform in community, that we do this work together, that we commit to our own personal transformations and our transformations with each other?
Yes, well, I want to say, Ms. Catherine LeBlanc, we're honored to be here with you also. So if I were to boil living powerfully down into one word, I would say consciousness. Consciousness. And this work that we're involved in obviously has to be in community, but we want to increase consciousness and beyond so we can end suffering. You talked about the mission of spiritual vision. Well, ours is, and I say our because it's Dr. Z and the angels that are with him doing this work. The vision is to end suffering by healing fear to unconditional love, while at the same time fulfilling greater human potential and power. And that can't be done individually. It's kind of like, you have one finger, you can only do so much, right? But if you put the fingers together and you have a hand, well, that's community, the community of fingers in the hand, if you will. Then we're able to accomplish more. And this increasing consciousness, conscious awareness, it really is about increasing collective consciousness. Because none of us live alone or on an island alone, although we have a society that's based in this individualism. But in reality, everything on creation is in some type of community, right? And so it's just a natural part of advancement of life. And what you give to other people in community is what you're giving to yourself. Right?
Mm,
You can't give without to someone. In fact, the only thing you have is what you give away.
I
So
love it.
yeah,
Taryn, you melted my, thank you, Dr. Z. Taryn, you melted my heart. And we connected initially through the Black Collective, the Tacoma Pierce County Black Collective, and they're going to be a part of this work as we move forward as well. And you, on several calls, said how fortunate you felt to be in community with people who were talking about similar work. Part of this is going to have a focus on fostering inclusion, right, within business. But we're first going to focus on each of us living our best lives, right, what transformation looks like for us. And we're going to have future sessions where we are clear on instruction and distinctions and provide information. But you've said many times that just being in community, feeling the love of people pouring into you, really has transformed you as well. Tell us about that. Why, if we're calling in high school students and we're calling in college students and we're saying, come, because you got some people who are about to love upon you. This is what I wish someone had poured into me at 16, at 27, at whatever, right? This is what that is for all of us. We want to create, a life where people are living their best life with ease. So tell us a little bit about why doing this work in community is powerful for you and why others should engage with us.
First of all, thank you. I feel like even this is just exciting because I'm like listening to everyone. I'm just like, oh my God, yes. I think it's important because even with the Black family unit, and I think of Black people, but I just think in general, the family union has been broken. And so in a lot of those ways, you don't realize the impact that it has on kids. And I came from a divorced family, and it's not anything my parents did wrong or anything like that. It's just that, they didn't have a community. Like I used to ask them questions about the divorce because I was afraid to get in a relationship. And I was like, hey, why did you guys get a divorce? What happened? And hearing different sides of the stories. And I started to understand that each one of them felt alone and advocating for themselves. And I remembered because I used to be a part of a Christian chapter called InterVarsity. And one of the other speakers that has spoke at a conference talked about the importance of community for not just for advocacy, but also accountability, and also helping to have people around you that are going to keep you accountable to your commitments and the things that you promise. And that's hard to do when you're isolated because you have so many voices in your head that keep you from going into the places that other people can see from you. I think it's hard to kind of break down so many of like my experiences for you guys to understand because it's emotional for me, right? Like articulating some of these feelings is really hard. But it's the wisdom, it's the accountability, it's the pouring life. If we looked at consciousness and also the feeling and the motion, and energy, because it is energy. And you feel energy. Energy can transform you in so many different ways. I know everybody can walk into the room and say, this energy doesn't feel right. This energy doesn't feel right. If you look at broken neighborhoods and communities and stuff, you can see that energy, you can feel that energy, you can feel death in a place versus when you go into a place where there's life, there's excitement, there's celebration. We're celebrating each other, we're honoring each other, we're speaking life into each other, we're in today's society posting and loving and hearting, and that's great, but it's also I really speak on accountability because you have to be committed to being better, and the people around you are going to hold you accountable, which is why people are afraid of that, right? Because we want to in our mind think by ourselves where there could be like a godlike complexions, like we're so great alone, and I don't think I've been in every chapter of my life. I've had a mentor or a group that has challenged me, that has challenged my way of thinking, that has kept me from negative things when I wanted to blame the world for everything. And they showed me a different perspective and lens. Miss Catherine, I had the honor of sharing this week. I told her I love Miss Catherine. I love her so much. And you too, Tracy. I just had to be quiet, right? Because someone that's had, further experience and knowledge and expertise, I had to be quiet and understand and listen. Because also in my generation, it's fast paced. It's instant feeling, instant gratification, instant go, 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 go. And then you feel great about these achievements. But when you die, what do these achievements mean? Like, what are these achievements actually mean if you're not sharing them or leaving that energy or that presence or something for someone else to be able to grow into another direction? So community is everything. From little kids, I love children, from being in those rooms, not understanding the responsibility of being a role model and what it means for them to have an instant person there that they look up to, versus television, versus looking at idol, like just everywhere. It's just really, really important. I remember doing a pageant and I was asked, what does it mean to be a role model? And I couldn't answer that question at 15 because I didn't know myself, and I needed people around me to help me learn myself, to help me learn what my passions are, asking questions. Charlamagne said it, reflecting back, what am I saying? I had so many people say, I hear you saying this, because sometimes you don't hear yourself when you're in your head. So it's all of it. And I mean, the reference of the hand said it all. The reference of the hand said it all. Like, by yourself, you can do like one type, but imagine having a hand that holds, you, or holds or grips something more than you can do by yourself. So all of it. I mean, we look at generations, we look at culture in Africa, and how the community and how the women's important, and everybody's role shapes the environment and the ability and the whole life of us to be able to experience life in its fullness. Relationships, all of it.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. We're all smiling. Look at Miss Catherine's face. She's smiling.
I love her. Miss Catherine is the best.
She loves you too. The smile that as you were speaking, I could see everyone. Her smile was just getting bigger and bigger as you were speaking. I'm taking notes like, look at our Taryn, right? You're going to be, people are going to pour into you, but you're also pouring into others. Like your experience, your openness to share your experience. You said, Tracy, I'm here for all of it. I want it all. But you also said, I want to help take people on this journey as well. So just thank you for being so courageous. There's going to be some one-on-one conversations, many other conversations, but thank you for showing up, right? And for being a part of this community and being willing to put your personal journey, we all are. We're going to put our personal journeys on Front Street, basically, right, to help others. And I love everything that has been said. So we're about halfway through our time together. And what I wanted to do is, again, this isn't the training, right? But we do want to put some little nuggets out there. We want to give people a little information about what this whole panel discussion, this whole initiative is about. So when I use the term living powerfully, we all kind of defined it, what it means to me. It is about showing up in your fullest potential. It is about being able to decide, make choices that are different than what you would normally if you're doing things that are not aligning to the goals that you want. It's about being very consistent in driving change in your own life so that you can drive change in the lives of others. So living powerfully for me is about showing up. So I'm going to ask each of you, again, Ms. Catherine, I introduced you to this David Bear, but you had a bunch of other trainings regarding, you said Landmark, and you're deep into professional development. Before I ask the sort of other certified facilitators to talk about their key learnings, I'm asking you to share what was some of the highlights for you, or any of those key takeaways that you'd like to share to get people excited about what is to come. Because I remember you saying to me, Tracy, I did Landmark years ago, and it was hard to explain for people, and it ain't for everybody, right? It wasn't for everyone. Let's talk a little bit about, like, how do we get people excited about actually using their mind to change their lives?
Well, I don't know if I can get other people excited, Tracy. I just know that if you're committed to your own freedom, and you're committed to your own evolution, you will find it exciting just because you want to be free. I love telling people I'm a free Black woman. And I'm free not because I have a whole lot of resources available to me to do any and everything I want. I'm free because of the work that I have done on myself to get what I call the garbage out of my system and out of my cells. And what I call garbage is anger, upset, concern, jealousy, envy, you name it. All of the stuff that clogs us up as human beings. One of the phrases that I really resonated with when I started doing this kind of work almost 40 years ago was the facilitator in the room saying, all of us are the walking wounded. And I'm saying, well, you know, I'm physically well, this, that, and the other, but I grew to appreciate and know what it was that he meant. We're talking emotional wounds. We're talking psychological wounds. In some instances, we're talking very traumatic physical wounds. And if you decide that you don't want the pain from those wounds to run your life, then you will do the work that is required to help heal yourself. And if you're open to that, the Great Spirit will definitely take you to opportunities to work on yourself. And one big thing that you learn is that you may think that you have worked on a certain issue and that you think that you have healed yourself on it until you're sitting in another kind of setting like we were this weekend, where we were talking about limiting beliefs and how they impact on the way that we relate to the world. And all of a sudden, a belief that has been limiting you for a long time that you thought you had worked on shows back up in another way. And the beauty of still being in the work is recognizing that you can still grow, you can still evolve. There may still be tears, but you're on your way to wholeness and health. And that is what my commitment is.
I love that so much. Everyone was smiling. You got a number, you got the amen corner. Like, yes, yes. Charmaine, why were you smiling? What are your thoughts about this concept? Again, we're trying to pull people into something that it's hard work, right? It's not for everyone, right? It's for those who want to truly, I call it a mountaintop experience, right? And the beauty of this is anyone who's part of these videos, right? We're being very clear. We're doing a video series and it's going to turn into a book within the next 4 to 5 months so that if you're not ready, right, join us, right? You're going to start the work, you're going to do the work. We're going to make sure we leave a roadmap for success, right? We do know what success looks like. That's the work that I love to do as a coach, as a consultant, as a trainer. My heart is really about helping others. So Charmaine, what would you say to the person who might, be unsure if this is the right thing, if they should be doing transformational mindset work? What would you say to someone about how transformational and how life-changing it really can be?
I would piggyback off of what the lovely Miss Catherine, who I had the absolute privilege to meet as well this weekend and spend some time with. And I would say the importance of everything that she said has to do with the South African word and concept of Ubuntu. And I am, and which means I am because we are. It brings together the concepts that we've been talking about of the importance of community and the importance of working on self, because I am because we are. And I think what we can bring to the world is an understanding of what really true community looks like, what it feels like to be seen, to be heard, to be felt in such a way that allows us to blossom into who we are truly meant to be. It allows us the safe place to be able to take off all of the layers that have been put upon us, either by outside forces or ourselves, that don't allow what's truly in there already. So this idea of discovering yourself has everything to do with you knowing that who you are is completely within you already. And so it's more about sculpting away the things that shouldn't be there. We've had glimpses of our genius, glimpses of our excellence, glimpses of us as creators, as we were created in the image of the creator, that when you can't have that for yourself, that others can hold that up. They can see in you things that you don't even see in yourself. They see blind spots that you don't see in yourself. So the work is necessary, not just for you, but it's essential for the community, because we are determines who I am, and we are all living legacies. Not only do we want to create legacies, but we are the reflection of a living legacy. Everything that I am has everything to do with who came before me and who's coming after me. I'm one divine expression of existence that is a continuous flow. And so my role in that is to reveal the essence of who I am in the space that I've been given in time to express that at this moment.
I love that. Y'all see why I love my people? I love that. Dr. Zaid, you and I have talked about this. We talked about this before the Black MBA conference, and I was like, we got to get this out there to our people. I was like, we got to pull people in. And this has kind of, been, a vision of mine for a while, but you're also doing work. And so what would you share about, again, someone is listening to these videos, we're going to have clips, social media, and drawing people in as we do this work, building people to a space where we're working in community. What would you say to someone about how their life can actually change through their mindset? Why this is so important to engage?
Yeah, I mean, the first question to even answer is, what do you want out of your life? I mean, you only got this one right now. And the human nature, the nature in everything is to grow. Everything is about growth and abundance, not scarcity. I mean, your fingernails, your toenails, they keep growing because abundance and growth is in the nature of everything in this life. So yes, freedom, absolutely. We want freedom. And part of that is being willing to take more responsibility and move to more bigger identities of oneness instead of seeing ourselves as separate. So when I was doing my doctorate work, it was in adult learning, it was in transformation, and it's two things that are just got to happen. One is self-reflection. A lot of times people aren't willing to reflect on themselves because it can be painful. We don't want to see what's there, but the reality, the truth is, that's the only way to free yourself from it, is by taking a look at it. And then the second process really is dialogue, seeking to understand other people's points of view, because we're limited by our experiences. It's funny, experiences are a paradox. They're supposed to expand us, but they can also limit us when we're just stuck in a bag. So part of it is really getting out of your own way, moving from those limiting beliefs that are false and unintelligent thinking, and moving to what is really empowering beliefs and what's true about you. I was at another retreat this past weekend, and one of the topics came up was worthiness. People feeling, high achieving women, business leaders, and me too, feeling unworthy, right? But that's false and it's unintelligent, because you are worthy of success, and you are worthy of love, and you are worthy of everything that you desire to have and be and do in your life. You're worthy of it just because you're here. You don't have to be performing some grandiose thing to be worthy. God created you. He put you here at this time for the purpose he wants you to serve. That's where your worthiness is. And when we can allow ourselves to reflect on ourselves, see what's others have planted in us that's not true. It's not true that you're unworthy. The truth is that you are worthy. When you know the truth about yourself and you have evidence to support that, then it's impossible for you to continue to stay with those limiting beliefs that were planted in you. And so you all can feel the Spirit coming through. I get excited about this because this is about growth. And that's what your natural human nature is all about. Growing to be what it is you came here to be in this fullest form and in the place in the system that you are.
Yes, I love it. So, Dr. Zaid, as you were talking, I had to put some notes into the producer. I'm like, you had every head nodding, smiling. Yes, yes, yes. This idea of us truly, you mentioned the concept of unworthiness. Successful people also feel unworthy. And you peel back the onion, it's like you don't even know. Charmaine, I think you mentioned earlier this idea of, sometimes you need a coach. I mean, coaches need coaches too, right? But you need someone, you need community. Taryn, we all mentioned the same thing. Like, it's important for us to do this work in community because one person sharing their story is going to help someone else, number one. But then there's things that you can't see by definition. I can't see the back of my hair, right? Right, without someone coming in and helping me see these blind spots, right? So really, I'm excited about this, and thank you all for just really pouring your lives into this community. So what we've committed to do is we've committed to do 4 sessions, right? We're going to do this work with a level of consistency. We're going to tell our stories. We're going to bring others together. We're going to be very intentional. We're going to have some one-on-one conversations as well. And we invite each of you watching these videos to also join us and to be a part of living powerfully. Taryn, just wanted to get your perspective. If you thought of some friends and people that are your age and or younger, and you have already had 3 days, I just wanted you to have a taste of what this experience is going to be like. Some principles initially. What would you say to someone about why they should engage in this initiative, this commitment to themselves and to community?
That's a good question. Sorry, I'm processing these whole conversations. I think that everyone wants something out of life, right? And if everybody desires something, nobody comes in here and says like, no, I'm just chill with whatever life happens through life. I'm just going to do. Everybody has a desire and they have this instinct in them to be great, to be better. And I think the roadblocks time and time again, like I said, for me, sometimes I was making excuses, that I didn't know was myself making those excuses. And so I think having this experience at this point and at this level, and especially the younger you can understand these concepts, the better. The younger you can understand the concepts, it just only enhances the level of life and experience for you. But I think I know it's going to be something that's going to get you into a space where you can actually be your fullest self. The decision part was really strong for me. I know everybody said, what was one takeaway that you had from it? There was a part where we had to write out, like, what are you deciding to do? And that was hard for me because as kids, when we're growing up, it's like we're listening to what everybody else wants from us. And so I want to make this person proud. I want to make this person proud. But there's something in me that I'm supposed to be doing. And I am afraid to do it because this person told me I should be doing this and this person should tell me this. And I want to follow this because it feels safe, because then everybody will love me, but I'm not really feeling fulfilled. And I'm not going to give my best work if I'm doing something that I'm not supposed to be doing. And it comes out in many areas of your life. And the reference of being tested, and you're going to see that in the mirror reflection in your community. Like those problems, I think someone said and talked to me one time, it's like, you got to stop and sit back and look at what your life is showing you. And you have to take the hard, and just shared the hard truth of self-reflecting and saying, I have to sit down and be accountable. I have to make the decision. And once you decide to say, I'm going to do these things, then it naturally starts opening up doors for you to be in positions. And everyone has said it already. I mean, you guys have said a bulk of it already. There's going to be encounters that you have in order to get to where you're supposed to go, but you have can't decide that if you're in a space where there's a lot of noise, where there's a lot of things going around, when you're in an energy that's not going to allow you to be able to hear or to just think straight, right? If you're drinking, if you're going out, if this is the way that you're numbing it, you're going to find yourself in those same situations. And I think in our environment and society, it's excuse my language, but just like, forget everybody. I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to go out here. I'm going to feel great. And that experience can only get you so far before you look at, and it's like 3 or 4 years later and you're still in the same place. So I think being in those places are going to force you to sit down, because my parents used to always call me Roadrunner. They say, you're always going, going, going. Miss Catherine even said that too. She's like, you're multitasking, you're going there. And I had to sit and think about it. And I was like, I really had to sit down in one space and being present. And I think a lot of people in my generation really need to hear this, especially in this hustler mentality. You have to do this and this to be seen, to be heard right away, when you can make an impact by being still and knowing those decisions and being present in each place, because it's a journey. Like, the best thing I've ever heard is life is a journey. It's a marathon. It's not instant right now. It's a journey. So in every place in your journey, you're called to be somewhere and be present in that space. And this this experience forced me to start doing that and doing the work in that. And like you said, Tracy, being consistent in it. So I know there's a lot of people, not just me. I had dancers I danced with last year. I called actually last night for a show, and I called them my babies. But I mean, even them hearing this right now, why their minds are, very influential and everything, and them grasping these concepts, no one can take that away from you. No one can take away that.
Absolutely. Y'all, this really is about changing the status quo. I mean, this really is about how do we change the future immediately. Like when you it's like when you're woke, you can't be unwoke, right? Once you see the truth, and we call it the unintelligent thinking, right? Once you see it, you'll never unsee that, right? So then that's the journey. It just allows you to move in a direction that is going to be aligned with what you say you want, right? We talk about something called the 5 primary drivers. That's one key element, right? And Taryn and my niece was there. Michelle was actually there as well. But the 5 primary drivers talks about beliefs, right? Beliefs are decisions, but beliefs dictate what you think. Your thoughts dictate what you feel. Your feelings dictate what you do, your actions, and your actions lead to your results. So if you had some greater understanding of the 5 primary drivers, we call it like the instruction manual for the brain, right? If 95% of what you do is led by your subconscious mind, then you get to actually control what happens. You get to control your thoughts, because you get to redefine your beliefs. And so that's part of what we're going to do. If you have a limiting belief, something that you say to yourself, thoughts that you know are not aligned, then we go back to say, you may be thinking a thing, but what do you believe? What patterns are happening in your life that are not aligned with what you want? And when you can look at those patterns and then we roll back, we help you. That's kind of what I do as a coach. Several of us do as a coach. We would help you to see those patterns and then understand what the beliefs are. And if they're limiting beliefs, we help you to create new powerful beliefs. That's where the transformation happens. That's what we mean by when you see the truth, you can't unsee it. So with the last few minutes that we have, and again, there's so much more that's going to happen with a very clear plan around how we're going to help you transform. But this was really about getting people excited about what is this about and how could it influence them. So I'm going to ask each of you to share what were some of the key takeaways, right? If we have 10 minutes left, I'm going to ask you to share your key takeaway with an action, something that someone can do immediately, something that you learned or that you were reminded of that you would want to share. What can someone do differently? And I'm going to actually start with Dr. Z this time. We got 10 minutes. So Dr. Z, you got 2 minutes.
What can you do differently? I mean, it's a whole process. It's an iterative thing. I guess the main thing is trusting yourself. You know, the fact that you're here watching this, listening to this, It's no coincidence. Be aware of the questions that you're asking yourself or asking the universe. And if the results you're having aren't what you really want, then you're probably not asking the best questions.
Mm.
Well, I'll just share real quick. I was about to flunk out of college at Penn State University. And in my pain of failure and soul searching, I asked the question, what's the purpose of my life and why am I here? And that question changed my life, because when you ask a question, you get an answer. And I got the answer. I'm here to serve. So my transformation began there, and I've been at it for over 40 years. You got to allow yourself to trust yourself and be clear that the questions that you ask is what the quality of your questions is going to determine the quality of your life. So I don't know if that answers your question, Tracy.
It so does. Oh my goodness, this has been so good. I'm taking notes because again, a book is coming out of this, right? It's just the beginning. So that was beautiful. Thank you very much. Taryn, same question for you. If you had to summarize real quick, one of your lessons learned and actions that you're going to take, something you're going to do differently, what would that be?
The way I speak to myself, that I am one. Miss Catherine came and sat with me, and we had to do those exercises in the book. And even my passive talking and the way I wrote, I didn't even notice that. So it's just like the little things and the ways that we spoke to ourselves. And it's just in little things, in little habits. I was like, well, I want to do this, and maybe I could do this. And between Michelle and Miss Catherine, they're saying there, no. That's not how you claim things into, and that's not how you take your power. And so the I am portion was really, really powerful for me. And I think see, I'm even correcting myself now, but I know putting that practice in place is going to change a lot of my habits, because you can replay things in your mind, like especially the ways that people say things about you, you can internalize that and not even know. So me being able to start speaking those things for myself so I can start seeing those changes. I am statements are going to be, I mean, my mom has shared it with me before, but life happens and you start getting into self-doubting, and I want to take control over that. So I'm definitely going to be speaking a lot differently about myself, and putting those practices into place.
I love that. This is so good. Charmaine, same question for you. What would be one key takeaway and one action that someone could take immediately that you believe would help to move them on a journey to live powerfully?
I'm so inspired by you, Taryn. I thank you for your comments. You really kind of in certain in your comments in the question before, you brought out and highlighted my key takeaways, and highlighted what I think the most essential thing to do, and that is absolutely understanding that this is a journey, and understanding that the word journey, if you look at it, is joy. Joy is at the beginning. And then you have the J-O, you are in every day, ending with the Y. Joy is supposed to be in your journey. And so the experience of your journey should be one of being present in your now. And you highlighted the fact that the power of the believing versus deciding, and the power and the energy that comes with both of those things relate to me to hoping versus where you're believing, hoping versus you've decided, which is faith. Because we all know that faith is belief plus action. And so when you decide, it brings an empowerment in faith to actually moving in such a way where your decision then has no choice but to manifest itself. And what that leads to, in my recommendation of the one thing, is understanding that life is a flow, and that in the flow, and Tracy, you can attest to this because this is what you and I worked on the whole time, being still. And you said that as well, Taryn. Stillness is an absolute must in this process. So it's even in the question of what is the one action you should take. is stillness, active
Mm,
sitting and pausing is I believe of the most underrated powerful action that you can take. Not in action where you're not doing anything and you're deflecting, or you're burying a feeling, or you are ignoring what's going on, but active stillness and just listening, just being still, just pausing in between your action, pausing in between giving and receiving. There's a lot of people that are giving out, but you interrupt the flow of giving when you don't pause before you and allow yourself to receive.
that's
Taking in that we have to do. And so in that pause, in that stillness is where the magic lies.
that is so beautiful. I love that. This is not the end. This is just the beginning of a series that is going to be super powerful. We're going to actually lay out very clear roadmap for success. Ms. Catherine, we have 4 minutes left. I'm going to give 2 to you and 2 to me. So what would you share as one of your key takeaways on what people can do, what actions they can take immediately?
Well, it was an affirmation of something that I've done most of my adult life, and that is to create visions for myself. And I follow scripture that says not only have a vision, but write it down. I live a life I love. And the life that I'm living is one that I created years ago on paper. And I would create these visions around how I saw myself, what I saw myself doing, where I saw myself going, who I was interacting with, et cetera, et cetera. So I would just say the power of vision. It can take you exactly where you want to go.
Wow, I love that. Whew, this has just been so good. Thank you so much. What I will say is, and you guys get prepared. I'm going to shorten my comments. So we have 1 minute left of rapid fire. I'm going to ask you for your final words. Like, what words would you put out there? Like, my words for this year is going to be choose you, right? And it's an acronym, choose YOU, right? Choose yourself, right? Invest in yourself. That's really important. So if I had to answer the same question about my key takeaways, it's really about vision as well. Like, this vision is part of my spiritual vision, my contribution to the universe, right? I know that we together, we really can change the course of real people's lives. So I'm bringing together real people who are willing to take real action for real change. And if that's you, we ask that you join us. It's All Bigger Than Me. That's the name of my company. It's allbiggerthanme.com. We're going to keep putting more information about how you can join us. Our next session is on 3/23/23. It's March 23rd. It's a Thursday, and we'll be right here live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. 3/23/23 at 3 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Central time, and 6 p.m. Eastern time. And we're going to be doing this the 4th Thursday of every month at a minimum. That's our commitment to progress. That's how we're going to help each of you to live powerfully. We're going to do some work around entrepreneurship as well. So we're going to be focused on who we are and where we want your life to go through vision. So any words, if we sometimes have a year, 2023, where you say words, embodiment, powerful, whatever. Being powerful and choosing myself is mine. Ms. Catherine, do you have any words that you would?
I'd say commitment and compassion. Compassion is all about what you do for other people. And it starts with having some feelings about what is happening to other people. So compassion and commitment.
I love it. Ms. Karen. Sorry, what was that last part?
Commitment and compassion whenever possible.
Love it. Thank you, Ms. Taryn. Any words that are kind of top of your mind right now that you're going to be focusing on in 2023?
Love. That's a big one for me, myself, because I think that's going to reflect in a difference in how I'm being able to really love others, and being present with others is me knowing how to do that with myself.
I love it. Dr. Zaid.
Expansion and consistency in 2023.
Yes, I love it. And Miss Charmaine.
My word for the year is harmony. And it kind of piggybacks off of Taryn, of harmony of my mind, harmony in my body, and harmony in my spirit, of integrating all of those together in a relationship with myself.
I
That
love it.
we are taught how to have a relationship with God, our creator. We are taught to have relationships with other people, but we're not so much taught about how to have a relationship with ourselves.
Mm,
Um,
that's
and
deep.
absolutely
That's deep.
has to be, as Taryn put it eloquently, it comes from us outwardly. And so back to that flow thing, the harmony of integrating not your mind, your body, and your spirit separately, but learning to listen to your body talk to you. Learn to listen to what your mind and your emotions, your feelings are telling you. Learn to harmonize, knowing they each have unique functions, but learning to harmonize and have gratitude for
Yes.
each and every aspect of us is the harmony that I'm working on in 2023 for myself.
Do y'all see why I love these people? Charmaine, can you tell us real quick, how do people find you? What's your website, or how do they find you?
You can find me at www.charmainewrightor.com.
All right, Taryn, you're actually in between gigs. I understand. You're an amazing resource. How do people find you? You're a singer. You have lots of skills. How do people find you?
Yeah, so JAZIRECHE on all platforms. For Jazare Shea, that's my Instagram, social
Okay.
media, all that. And then just Jazare if you're looking me up for music in all platforms. But there's an
So
aspect of me. Yeah.
So we will make sure that this is added to this recording so that they know how to find each of us. Dr. Zaid, how do they find you?
So we have a great offer for you all. My best book that we've written, I'm giving it away free. You just pay for shipping, no charge for the book. 25 days to happinessbook.com. 25 days to happinessbook.com. It will
All
transform your life.
right. I love it. I know, Miss Catherine, you've shown up for us. You're like, look, Trace, I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna support you. But I don't think are people. You want you want people to find you, or you just like I'm a.
I think I started out by saying I'm semi-retired
I know.
with the emphasis on retired.
I know. That's why I'm like.
So if anybody's looking for me, contact Tracy.
Tracy, I love it. Tracy, TRACI at It's All Bigger Than Me. And then we will screen you before you get to Miss Catherine. She's the. Anyway, y'all, thank you so much. Mwah. This has been amazing. I like to say it's bigger than me, but together it is not bigger than us. We got this. Living powerfully. 2023 is going to be our year of true destiny, true legacy, y'all. We got this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.